Hello everyone, hope all of you are doing well. And before we start, I would like to quickly introduce myself. I'm Anamika Singh. I'm working in Exxat from last 4 years. During my tenure, I have worked with PT, OT, public health, nutrition, and many more disciplines. And our today's agenda is courses and rotation. So we'll talk how you can add courses in the system, how you can offer those courses to the student, and how you can track rotations. So let's go ahead and start. So our today, this is the bigger picture of what we are going to cover today. The main topic that we are going to cover is course catalog and course offering. Under course catalog, I'll show you how you can build a course list, like a big list of course that you are offering to your student or plan to offer your student. And under course offering, there are three parts. So first is course measures and mapping. So for course measures and mapping, we are going to have one more session schedule where we can discuss more about this. But today we are going to discuss placements and learning activities. So let's go ahead. So what I can do is I will go to my exact page and I'll share my exact screen with you guys. Like I'll share my dashboard and we can start with that. So in order to track your courses, in order to offer courses to the student, or in order to track the rotation, we'll go to this courses section that's under curriculum management. So once we click over the courses, there are three parts available to this page: the setup, course catalog, and course offering. So first we will start with setup. We'll quickly look what's available under setup, what we can set up under this setup section, and then we'll move to the next section, that's course catalog. So under setup, we have four options available. First, we have is course measures. So measure is a exact terminology utilized to define different category of course component that help you guys to meet the accreditation standards. So these could be your objective, like course objective, course goals, or it can be your learning outcomes. Again, this will be discussed in more detail in our next curriculum management webinar. So for today, I'm skipping this. Next, we have is academic calendar. Academic calendar, under this, we have three sections available: term, professional year, and academic year. Adding these three information is very important for offering courses. When you're offering the courses, this will help you identify in which term you are planning to offer the course, in which year student will take that course, and in which academic year that course is going to be tracked. So terms under term you can track in which term you offer the courses to the student. So it can be fall, summer, spring. In some of the discipline, I have seen they track in some, they offer some courses in winter as well. And there are few programs that offer in like fall one, they make two terms as fall one and fall two. So if you have settings like this, system has flexibility to tweak this. Next, we have as a professional year. Under professional year, we are basically tracking in which year of the program student is when they are taking the course. So some program would like to add like first year, second year. If it's a 2 year program, they can add first year, second year. And I have seen there are few programs that use semester as well. So if you are dividing your program based on semesters, like first semester, second semester, third semester, and fourth semester, that semester will again go under this professional year only. So that completely depends on you guys. Next, we have is academic year. So this is the year in which student is going to take the course. Next, we have is course policies. Under course policy, if you have any policies related to the courses, here one example we have already added that it's mandatory for the student to complete at least 75% attendance. So if you have policies like this, or if you have a policy like student have to complete 20 hours in this course, those type of policies can be added in the system. Next, we have is learning activities. Under learning activities, we have timesheet option available. Under timesheet, what you will able to do is when your student fill out the timesheet, if you want them to categorize their timesheet, like what number of hours they have given to direct hour or for what number of hour they have given to patient care, if you want your student to further categorize the timesheet filled by them, then this option is useful. You can create your own categories, and while students are filling out the timesheet, they can select those categories. But if you feel categories are not important for your program, you can select no and you can leave this option. Once you're done with the setup section, next we have is course catalog. Under course catalog, you will able to make the list of all the courses which you are planning to offer to the student. Again, we have two type of disciplines available. Some only want to track the placement courses, and there's a lot of program that would like to track placement as well as didactic courses. So again, this is completely on you guys if you would like to track both or just the placement courses. When we are adding the courses in the system, there are few components that's very important that we need while adding those. So whenever we would like to add a course, we can click over Add Course button. And the important component for adding courses are the course number. So we have to add the course number, we have to add the course name, and this will be helpful when you are deciding if it's a placement course you are adding or if it's a didactic course you are adding. So if it's a placement course, this should be selected as yes. And whenever it's a didactic course, it should be selected as no. Selecting this properly is very important because once this is saved, we are not able to make the changes to this one. However, we can make the change in the course name and course number, but this cannot be changed. So it's important that we select this correctly. Again, if you're only plan to track the placement course and you only want to add like 3 to 4 courses in the system, you can go with this one-on-one, like you can go with one by one adding the courses. But whenever you guys have a big list of courses that you would like to add, we will always suggest to go with this upload courses option. What this option will do is this will basically allow you to do a bulk upload. So once you click over this upload courses, a drawer will open up. So this is a two-step process. First, you can go ahead and download this sheet. And once you download the sheet, this sheet would look like this. So in this sheet, you can fill the serial number. You can fill out the course number, what is the name of the course, and then you can add if that course requires placement, yes or no. So for didactic courses, for all the didactic courses, this is going to be no. Once you guys are done with filling this sheet, you can go back to your exact page and you can upload the fill sheet and you can hit over save. So once in one go, all of your courses will be added in the system. You don't have to add it all of them one by one. If there is any changes required, you can always click over the edit pencil and you can make the changes in the course name or course number. And when you are making changes under the course name and course number, this will also give you option if you would like to apply that changes to all the course that's already offered. So again, this is completely on you guys if you would like to apply this change or not. Once the course is added in the system, next option for us is to offer that course to the student. So in order to offer the course to the students, we'll go to course offering section. Under course offering, we have this add course offering button available where we can decide what course we would like to offer, in which term we are planning to offer the course, and all those kind of information. So in order to offer the course, we'll click over add course offering button. This will open up a drawer. Under this drawer, I would like to highlight one thing, that I am using a PT sales demo. So this is a PT domain specific page. That's why we have this cohort option available. This cohort option depends from program to program. If your program is a lockstep program, when I say lockstep, it means all the students take the course at the same time, they graduate at the same time, and they will take all the courses together. For those kind of discipline, we set up the system. So there is a cohort option available. But if your program, in your program, if a student enrolls at any time, they can graduate at any time, and they can take any course at any time. For those kind of disciplines, we don't add this cohort option. And in place of that, you will only be able to see terms, academic year and professional year. So why is this difference? Because for lockstep program, all students are going to take the same course. So all the students added under that cohort will automatically get registered for this course. But for non-lockstep program, you are not sure which student is going to take which course till the time the course is offered. So in those type of program, once the course is offered, after that you can go ahead and register the student. So that's the main difference between lockstep and non-lockstep. In Lockstep program, you can go ahead and select the cohort, to which cohort you would like to offer the course, in which term this course is going to be offered, in which academic year they will get this course, and in which professional year they are in when they will complete this course. And at the very last, you can select which course you are planning to offer to them. So you have the big list of courses available. You can just click over this drop down and you will able to see all the courses that you have added under course catalog. You can select the courses. Once the course is selected, we can hit over save button. Once the course is offered to the student, there is an entry get created for the course. So in here, this is the list of all the course offered. In some of the course, you guys will able to see this little P next to that. So this indicates that this is a placement course. However, if there is no P next to the course, that means it's a didactic course. Now what we can do, we can quickly click over one of the course name and we can quickly see what's available inside the course. So we can click over the course name and there's a lot more information about the course that you can track in this system. So first we have is the about section. Under about section, you can fill out the course detail, like what is the duration of this course, what credits this course requires, if there is any prerequisite, prerequisite, all those kind of information can be added under the about section. At the right side of the page, we also have generate syllabus option available. So once all these options are filled, you will able to generate a very nice syllabus if you want. So you just have to click over this button and you will able to download it. Next we have is go to mapping. So again, go to mapping will be covered in our next webinar. After that, we have is clone from. Clone from will be helpful once you already have a course offered in the system and going forward you would like to clone from the same type of course. So when you do clone from, this will not clone your course, but this will clone whatever is available inside the course. So when you clone a course, Whatever the information added under about section, under resources, or whatever the learning activities enabled for the course will get cloned. So in order to clone the course, it's very important that the course offering is done, then only we will able to do a clone from. So in order to do a clone from, we'll click over this clone from button. We can select from which previous course we would like to clone the information. We can go to next. In next section, you can decide what kind of information you would like to clone from the previous course and what information you don't want to clone. So there is a open text, like there is open checkbox available before each of these options where you can decide I want to clone course detail, but I don't want to clone prerequisite. So you have all these capabilities available. Once you are done with deciding what you would like to clone, you can go ahead and hit over the save button. Next here we have is faculty and staff. So if there is a faculty assigned or if there is a faculty who is taking care of this course, you can assign them, you can associate them here. And whenever they log into their system, they will able to see the list of all the courses where you guys have associated them as a faculty. And student will also, once this course is offered to the student will also be able to see that who is going to be my faculty for this course. So you can add the faculty name or the staff name, you can give them the designation, and once done, you can just go ahead and save them. Next, we have measures. So again, measures going to be covered in our next session. We can skip this for now. Next, after that, we have is resources. Under resources, you can upload any document, you can upload any link, you can upload any videos related to this course. Best example is syllabus. If you would like to add a syllabus related to this, or you have a reading material for this particular course that you would like to add, those kind of information can be added here. So in order to add any resources, you can click over add resource button. But before you add resource, it's very important you select the category. In which category that resource will go. If you feel the resource you're adding will not go under any of these categories, you have ability to create your own category. So in order to create a category, you can click over the plus button. This will open up a drawer. In this drawer, you can click over add category. You can create your own category and you can go ahead and save it. Once this is saved, you can click over the name of the category. You can go to add resources. That will open up a drawer. Now here you have to decide if you would like to upload a document related to this resource, if it's a video link, or if it's a FAQ you would like to create. Once this is done, you can go ahead and upload other information related to that resource. And the most important part here is you can decide if the resource you are adding needs to be shared with the student or needs to be shared at the site resource page, yes or no. So there are toggles available. So if you would like to share it with the site and student, this should be on. But if you don't want to share it with the student, that's just for school use, you can off these toggle and you can save it. Next, after that, we have is event schedule. So event would be the topic taught in the course each week. For example, today's topic was going to be like introduction to anatomy. So that kind of information can be captured in the system under event schedule. So in order to capture that information, you can click over add event. You can put the title. So here the title will go maybe as Introduction to Anatomy. You can put the date, you can also put the start date time. These are not the mandatory information. If you don't want to use this, you can ignore. You can put the title. If you have a resource material available, you can come you can go ahead and upload that and then you can go ahead and save it. Next, we have students. Under students, we have three options available. First is communication and intervention. Under communication and intervention, so first under communication, here you can track any important communication regarding under this course. So even if it's a communication you have like an internal communication or with the student related to this course, you can always track those communication here. And if in future there is a follow-up required for that particular communication, you can track that communication here. Next we have is intervention. Intervention option is basically available to track any incident. So if you would like to track any incident happened during this course, that intervention will be tracked here. So in order to again track our intervention, you can click over the plus button. A drawer will open up where you can fill out the information. Again, if this intervention requires a follow-up in the future, you can click over the plus button and you will able to fill out all these information. Next, after this, we have student registration. Under student registration, if it's a lockstep program, all the student will get registered automatically. But if it's a non-lockstep program, you have to register the student manually. So how we can register the student? We can click over the select to register button. And the best way to search for the student, I feel, is by cohort. If you would like to register multiple students from the same cohort, you can go by cohort. You can select the cohort name. You can click over search record. This will show you the list of all the students that's added under this cohort. And any student that's already registered in the course is grayed out. So you will also be able to identify which are already registered. In order to register new students, you can click over student's name and we'll just hit over register button and all the student will get registered. In case if you feel there is a student that get registered by mistake, you can always unregister them very easily. So you just have to click over unregister. So this will ask you to put the number just for the confirmation so we can make sure you're not doing it by mistake. Once you have added the number, you can click over confirm and the student will get unregistered. Next we have is compliance. So under student compliance, this will only show you the list of students which are registered for this course. And you will able to see their compliance status. So you will able to see if they're compliant or not, if there are documents that need attention, if everything is good to go, if they haven't uploaded any document. So any student registered for this course will be visible here. Next, we have is announcements. So if there is any changes in this course, if there is any information related to this particular course or this particular course offering that you would like to inform the student, that you would like to inform to the site, you can always add an announcement. And the best thing under announcement is there is a start date time and end date and time. So after this end date and time, this will automatically remove from your student and site page. They will no longer be able to view that information. So once that announcement is added, here you can on the toggle if it's just for the student or if it's just for the site or if it's for both of them. Once this is done, we can go ahead and save it. So this is all we have under course offering. So before we move to the next section, that is placement, where we will talk about setting up rotation. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm checking the questions box.
Sure.
Uh, Till now, we don't have any questions. One question we already answered, Sarah. Um, I
All right.
can give
So then,
everyone, yeah.
mhm.
Um, yeah. Meanwhile, if someone has any question, please type it up and we can address it during our next question break.
So can we move forward on it? Or you would
Yes.
like to break? Okay, awesome. Okay. So the next topic we are going to cover today is setting up rotation. So rotation in this system is nothing but the time frame when your student will go out for their placement or when they go out to the site or to their clinical for their clinical placements. So that time frame in this system is called rotation. Once the course is offered, then only we will able to go ahead and add the time frame for that placement. In order to add the rotation dates in the system, we'll go to placements. That's next to announcement. So this will open up a new page where we will able to set up the placement. Sorry, we will able to set up the rotation. In order to set up the rotation or the time frame for the placement, we'll go to this rotation setup. Under this, we will able to see the course name. We will also be able to see the course offering information. We will also be able to see how many students are registered for this course. And at the right side of the page, we have this add rotation button available. This is the option that will allow us to add the time frame for the placement. So first option here we have is the title. You can give a name to your rotation. It can be clinical experience one, clinical practicum one, and few program would also like to put the rotation name same as the course offering name. So whatever help you guys to identify the rotation, you can name. Next, you can add the start date of the rotation, end date of the rotation. Next, we have is the duration, like if it's a 6 week rotation, if it's a 12-week rotation. And the time segment, we have few more options available. So few programs would like to track like it's a 7 days rotation or it's a 30 hours rotation. So if you guys have a setup like this, you can use, but the most common that we have seen is weeks. So you can always track like if it's a 12-week rotation or how long that rotation is going to be. Next, after that, we have is courses. And once you are done with filling this information, you can select which course you are going to offer. Next, we have is setup advanced schedule. Setup advanced schedule will be helpful if you would like to break down your rotation. So one example for this is, for example, you are offering a 16-week rotation to the student, and some of the site are not willing to take the student for 16 long weeks. So what program will do is they will break down their rotation into two small groups, like 8 week rotation, and they will send out to the student in two different sites for the same rotation. So if you have cases like this, you can always break down your rotation. So the bigger time frame will be added here, and the two breakdowns that you did or the three breakdowns you did, those date will go under this section. Next, after that, we have a show other students place. So if you on this toggle and if you have more than one student placed at the same site, they will able to see each other name. So sometime this will be helpful for them to finding housing and all together. So if you think this will be helpful, you can definitely on the toggle. Next, we have a show on site resource page. So if you would like this rotation time frame to be visible on the site resource page to the site, you can on the toggle. And how this is helpful is, for example, if your site check your site resource page, they know that you have a rotation coming soon. They can reach out to you. That I know you are offering a rotation in October and you're willing to take one student. Are you interested in sending out? Next, we have is thanks clinical instructor with credit for hour. So this will be helpful for closing the loop with the preceptor. So once the placement is done and you would like to send thank you notes to the preceptor, or if you would like to send out the hours to them, the number of hours they have worked with the student, or if you would like to send CU credits or CME credits to the preceptors or to the clinical instructor, this option will help you to set that up. So if it's a simple thank you note you would like to send it out, there is no need to set this up. There is a template available that you can create a template and you can send that out. But if you would like to offer the number of arts to the preceptors, you can click over this option and this will allow you to set the number of arts you would like to offer. So for example, for this rotation, if your preceptor have to complete 240 hours, you can put that 240 hours manually here. And when you send out thank you notes to the preceptor, those number of arts will be visible to them and they can calculate the CU based on the state they are in. And some program would like to give the CU credit, so you can provide that as well. For this course, your CI will get 3 credit. So you can add that as well. And we have one more option available that not all program use, but if your student have more than one preceptor or more than one supervisor at the site, some program would like to collect the percentage from the student as well. That out of the two CI, which CI has worked or which preceptor has worked, which how many hours. So what student will basically able to do is they will able to give you guys the percentage. Out of the two preceptor, one has worked with me for the 60% of the time, and the other has worked with me for the 40% of the time. So when you on this, you can also make this as a mandatory field for the student if you want. If your student are filling out 100% for one CI, they will get 240 hours. But if they are filling out 60-40 or maybe 50-50, 70-30, this hour can also be calculated based on the percentage your student has added for each preceptor. The very last we have is rotation notes. If you would like to put any rotation notes, you can do that. But if you don't want to, you can ignore this and you can go ahead and save this information. Once this rotation is created, you will able to see your option created like this. In case if you feel there are some changes needs to be done in the date, or if there is some changes needs to be done in the number of hours, you can always click over the rotation name. So this will open up a same kind of drawer where you can make changes to any information that you have already added. So any questions on rotation before we move to the learning activity? That's our last topic for today. So any questions on setting up rotations or maybe sending thank you notes to the CI?
Yeah, sorry. There are a bunch of questions.
Sure.
First question is, can you edit rotation for a single student?
We
Um,
cannot edit rotation for single student, but we can definitely edit the placement dates. So under the rotation, if you would like to edit the date, for example, for one of your student, the dates are bit different. While making the placement, there is dates available for each individual student. So if there are any changes, you can make those kind of changes for each student.
okay. The rotation dates can be updated.
Yes.
Okay. I hope, Sarah, that answers your question. We have one more question is, can you please go step by step for getting placements in Exxat for students to see? So Cynthia wants to know how we are able to publish the placement for students. Will the placement need to be entered individually for a student, or it can be done directly? So I think if you can quickly go over the steps to publish the placement to students, it would be helpful
Sure.
for.
Okay. So we have one more upcoming session which you guys can register for. They will show you all the steps in detail, but I'll give you guys a quick view of that. So in order to make the placements for the student, We can go to placements, and we have two ways to make the placement. Either you can make the placement by location. So when you go by location, you will able to see the name of the location. If there is any slot they have offered, you can click over offered slot and we can make the placement. Other way to make the placement is view by student. So when we do view by student placement, there is student name available, and next to the student name we have this plus button available, which will allow them to make the placement. So in order to make the placement for the student, we can click over the plus button, and if there is any slot already added at the side, those slot will be visible here. In case if your program don't collect slot, if you are more interested in doing a direct placement, what you can do is you can click over the direct placement button. You can select the location where you would like to make the placement for the student. So I want to make the placement at this location. You can go to the next option. Under next, as I've mentioned, you can always make changes to the rotation date. So this is the actual rotation date, but this student will go in a different set of dates. So you can definitely change these dates for individual students. And here, once this information is filled, the most important thing to fill out here is all the option with asterisk mark. Without these, you will not be able to make the placement. So select the setting for which setting you are making placement for the student and the dates. There are a few other options available as well, which you can definitely fill out if you want. Options like who is going to be the preceptor, who is going to be their CI, who is the location contact, but these are all optional. Once you are done, we have two options available. If you would like to place and publish both, or if you would like to place the student only. Publishing is important because if you don't publish the placement, the placement is not visible to the student when they log into the system. So some of the program will like to do it at the same time, like they will go ahead and hit over place and publish now. But a lot of programmer like they will first make placement for all the student, and once they're done with making placement for all the student, then they will go ahead and publish it. So if you would like to make a placement for individual, like for one single student, then this is very helpful. If you would like to place the student, we'll just hit over this place button and the publish is done. So if I refresh my page, that site name will start showing up next to the student name. So you will able to see at which side the student is placed. And whatever for whatever the setting they are placed, that color will populate here. Now I have only placed the student, but I haven't published it. Now, how I can publish it? In order to publish it for the whole batch or for a multiple student, you can always go to email and publish. You can select the student with the help of open checkbox. In one go, you can select multiple student as well. Once you have selected the student, you can click over publish placement and this placement is published. Now, if I refresh it, you will also be able to see the date on which this placement is published. And here on the placement, I would like to highlight one more thing. If you're not making any changes in the rotation date, this will look like this. But if you're making any changes in the placement date, the rotation date, you will able to see this eye icon next to the student that will give you this pop-up, and that pop-up will show you that placement dates are different from rotation date. So any other questions, Ami, on this?
Um, no, I think that is good. So, Cynthia, we highly recommend you joining our placements webinar, which is 2 weeks out from today, and you'll get much more detailed view and explanation of all things related to placements. You can go ahead, Anamika.
Thank you, Ami. So we can close this placement section. And the last thing we'll cover here is learning activities, and then we can quickly talk about attestation as well. Under learning activity, we have three options available. So under learning activity, this is first we have a setup. In learning activity, we are basically deciding what activity we want our student to complete during the placement. So it can be a form you would like your student to complete, or it can be a patient log you want your student to complete. Is my screen visible? I decreased the size of the screen a bit because I'm not able to scroll through this. So is it too small or is it visible?
No, it's visible. We are good.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. So under setup, we are basically able to enable any form that we want our student to complete. We can enable any form that we want our preceptor to complete. If your program want your student to fill out the patient log, so we have programs like SLP, they want their student to fill out clinical logs. We have programs like nursing and PTOT. They want their student to fill out patient log. So if your program tracks something like that, we have capability to build that as well. Next, if your program track the number of hours students are working at the site each day, so you can also use timesheet. And the very last option we have available here is a time off. So if it's a bigger rotation and you want your student to give an option to apply for a leave if they are sick, if they have any emergency, then you can always enable this time off option. So under forms and evaluation, in order to enable the form, we'll click over the plus button. So again, for learning activities, we have a dedicated session available where they can talk more about what kind of forms we have in Exxat, what capabilities we have, what we can build for you. In today's session, I'll just show you guys how you can enable the form. So if once the form is already created by our configuration team, in order to enable the form, you can click over this arrow button next to the form name, and then you can fill. First option here is you have to activate this toggle. So we'll on the toggle, and then we have to decide if it requires placement, yes, no. Next we have is the publish date. Publish date is the date from which date this form is visible to the student. So you just have to put the anchors. You don't have to put the actual date. You can just decide, okay, this is visible to the student maybe one day before the placement start date. Then you will able to find two options for due date. This is not similar for order forms. If your student is filling out the same form in midterm as well as in final term, then only you guys have this kind of view. But if this is the form that your student will fill out once, then there is only one option available for the due date. So under due date again, you can fill out what is the last date for the student to submit this form. Again, due date, even after the due date, your student will able to fill out the form. This is just to let them know that by this date, you have to complete the form. At the bottom, you can also decide what faculty can view this form and what faculty can make the changes to these forms. So you have two more options available. Once done, you can go ahead and save the form. Once this form is saved, you will able to see that form activated in the outer side of the page, and you will also be able to see whatever the information you have filled will be visible. In case if you would like to make any changes to the form, you can click over the edit pencil, you can make the changes, and then you can go ahead and save it. If you would like to see what this form would look like before enabling it, you can always click over the name of the form. So we can click over this plus button again, and I want to see how this 3CE form would look like. I'll click over this arrow button and I'll click over this eye icon next to the form. So here this will show you the sample electronic form that our team will create for you. So this is not a good example. Let me quickly open up a different one. So this is one of the good example, like how the electronic form would look like. This is more of PT form as I have logged in under PT, but depending on program to program, you can have your own forms. You can have your different options. You can decide what options you want. So different kind of customizations are available in Exact. Again, there is a webinar scheduled for that where they can talk more about the capabilities. Next, we have patient log. Under patient log, again, you will able to enable the patient log. In order to enable the patient log, you have to activate this. You can decide log must be created within days. So you have to put the number of days by when this will be done. And then you can decide if this continue, like if there is any grading associated to this. So here you can decide if this contribute to student final score, yes or no. If it's no, you can just select no and you can move to the next section. But if there is some scoring associated to that, you can select yes and you will able to put the weightage. What weightage this timesheet contains. So for example, this has 10% weightage out of the total 100% student will receive. Next, we have is customized column display when reviewing patient log. So once your students start filling out the patient log and it's your time to review the patient log, you can decide what columns should be visible to you. So in this edit column, you will able to edit your columns. So the top four information cannot be deleted, but all the other information can be deleted and you can also add few more columns. You can also move these columns like top and bottom, what information you want at the top, next what information you want. And once this looks good, you can go ahead and save this. Next, after that, we have is do you want to enable automatic approval for log upon submission? So if you don't want to review each of the log filled by the student, you can select that yes, yes. But if you think you can go ahead and review it, you can select this as no. And then you can, once your students start filling out the patient log, you will able to review each of them individually. And then the very last we have is enable attestation. Attestation is nothing but an option where you can put a statement for the student and your student can click over like I agree. Once this is done, you can just hit over save and you can this patient log will be enabled for the student. In case if you would like to see how this patient log would look like for the student, you can click over this eye icon and this will show you the sample log that our team has created. Again, this is very PT specific log. You guys can have your own option and your own logs. Next, after patient log, we have timesheet. You can also enable timesheet for your student. Under timesheet, your student will basically able to fill out the number of hours they are working each day in the site. So first of all, we have to activate this. Next, you have to decide how many number of hours student can put for each day. So as I have worked with multiple discipline, I have seen programs adding 8 or maximum 10 hours student can fill each day. But again, this completely depends on program to program. Next, we have to specify the number of days for which students are allowed to edit past timesheet. So this is really a nice option where you can give some buffer time to a student. For example, if you know your student are not will not fill out this every day, then you can give them some buffer time. So what will happen is even if they forgot to fill out the timesheet for each day, they still have ability to go to the previous dates and they can fill it out. But if this is selected as no, you student have to fill out each day, and if they didn't had a chance to fill that out, system will lock this option and they will not to edit the past time sheet. Next, we have is does this contribute to student final score? Again, if timesheet is going to be contribute to their final score, you can select yes, and you can put what weightage this contains. Next, we have allow student to enter time for future date. If you want your student to put an entry for future date as well, you can select that as yes, but a lot of programs are like they don't want the students to put the future time entry as well. So if you think that's not helpful, you can select that as no. Next we have is allow student to enter the number of patient encounter for each time entry. Again, this depends from program to program. If your student works with patients, they can definitely fill it out. It's completely on you. But if you feel they are not working with patient or and sometimes they are just helping the preceptor at the site, in those type of cases, you can always select this as no. Next, allow student to enter break time. If you want a student to enter break time as well during the 8 hours they're working at the site or during the 10 hours they're working at the site, they can fill that out, but a lot of programs are like, no, we don't want. Next we have is, do you require faculty sign off? So if there is a faculty who's taking care of this particular course offering or this particular placement, you can always select this as yes if you have given faculty access to someone from your program. So they will get ability to sign off on this. Next we have is require student to select preceptor for each time entry. So if this again depends on program to program. If you want your student to send out the number of hours to the preceptor or to the clinical instructor, so they can approve or disapprove the number of hours added by them. This should be selected as yes. So student can select which CI has worked with them. And when they send it out, like when they send out the number of hours to the CI or to the preceptor, they will receive an email like this, and this email contains a delegator link. Preceptor will able to click over the delegator link and they will able to approve and disapprove the number of hours filled by the student. But if you think you don't want this to be sent out to the preceptor, you as a school will review, will approve or disapprove it. You can completely ignore this option for the preceptor. And then the last we have is require student to categorize each time entry. So if you want a student to categorize their timesheet, you can select this. You can either do give them option to single select or multi-select. But if you don't want to categorize their timesheet, you just want the normal number of hours each day they are working, you can just select no and you can save it. Next we have is time off. Under time off, you can give your student option to apply for a leave if they are sick. So here, the very first option we have is you have to activate the toggle. Next, we have is inform clinical instructor when student requests time off. So if you want this time off information to be sent out to the CI as well, you can select this as yes. So CI will able to receive an email where they will able to see the information added for which date student need the leave. But you as a school has this capability to approve or disapprove the leave. So once the student has applied for the leave, you can approve or reject the leave based on the reason they have given. So if your student will say like, I'm sick, I have a family emergency, you can go ahead and approve the leave. But if they have given a reason which doesn't fit, you can always disapprove the leave. Next, we have is require student to categorize time off. So if you want your student to categorize the time off, you can add the category, and whatever category you have added, your student will able to select out of that. So categories can be, you can put categories as sick, you can have category as other, and please explain more about that. And whatever category you add, your student will able to select that. Next we have is required document upload. So if you want your student to upload something like a doctor appointments or something like that, you can give this option to the student so they will able to upload a document. Next we have is inform school when student request time off, and this is really a very nice option because if this is selected as yes, you will able to add your email address. And whenever a student has applied for a leave, you will receive an email, and then you can go ahead and approve and disapprove leave. Next, we have is email placement faculty. So if there is a faculty associated with that, you can also select this as yes. So whoever is selected as placement faculty for this particular student, they will able to receive that information. And the very last here we have is attestations. Under attestation, you can add a statement where you want your student to provide a kind of electronic signature. So if there is a attestation related to this course, then that attestation will go here. So you can put the title, you can describe bit more about that attestation. Again, this is not mandatory, title would be fine. And then you can also add the due date. So you here you will able to add the date. Once this information is filled, you can go ahead and save this information. For attestation, your student will able to click over I agree button. So this is all for today's session. Ami, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do have one question. Donna wants to know when a student has completed a required course, is
Mhm.
there a way to get a report on it, or you can just tell her what is the best way for her to track if the student has completed the required courses?
Okay. So one is we have the placement. If it's a placement course, we have a placement comprehensive report available that you can run, where you will able to see the, like, once your placement is completed, you can click over the name of the course. So for example, I want to check for this particular course, how many student has already completed this course, or how many student has already completed this placement basically. So here, if we go to this report section, there is a report available, the comprehensive placement report. So this will show them the list of all the students that are placed for this course or that has already completed the course. So if this is what she would like to know for the placement courses, this is the option. But if it's for the didactic course, under didactic course, again, if I go to courses, under didactic courses, we don't have a way available to add the dates like we have an option available under placements. Under placement, you can chat start date and end date, but under didactic courses, we don't have an option available where you can track the dates. So here, I'm not sure on this one. I will check on this and I can get back to you guys what's the best way to track these type of for these type of courses. But there is one way where you can check is like in which term that course is offered and in which academic year. If that term and academic year already completed, that might help you to track that this course has been already completed by the student, but there is no report available for didactic courses as of now. So, I will check on this and maybe we can get back to this for demo.
Okay, she has a follow-up question on that. Can you
Mhm.
run a report for an individual student, like a transcript or something? I don't believe, Donna, we have a transcript kind of a report built out, but that is definitely something we can take it under advisement with our product team and then get back to you. Okay. Yeah, I think those are all the questions that have been posted as of now.
Okay. So, would you like to add something else here?
Yes, can you go to the presentation and show them the help resources
Sure,
section?
yes. So this is the help center available for course and course offering. This copy is already shared with you guys, so you can always go to this link and This link contains all the documents related to courses, course offering, and rotation. And all those documents contain step-by-step process along with the screenshot. So if you're not sure how to offer the course or how to add course objective things, you can always click over those documents and that will give you step-by-step process.
Okay, and then moving on, we would like to inform you all that our next Prism training series is part 6, which is slots and slot requests. So, if you guys are interested to learn more about how to add slots and how to send out slot requests, please do register for the upcoming webinar. And even if you are not able to make it to the live session, you please sign up so that you can receive a recording directly on your email for this webinar. That is all that we had to offer to you guys today. So if you guys have any further question, please reach out to us. And that would be all. So thank you so much all for joining in and taking time out to learn about courses and rotations within Exat.